Welcome to my morning plot analysis videos on Tuesday 26th of March with me, Richard Paramark, analyst at Hantec Markets. We've got a fairly settled day actually in terms of the European morning. Nothing too significant in terms of direction. There is a slight rebound actually in risk appetite, and that's been helped by the bounce that we've seen in Treasury yields overnight, helping to stabilise a bit of that sentiment that resulted in that precipitous move lower actually on Treasury yields and bond yields across the globe actually. And that has helped to stabilise risk appetite there. Therefore, we see the yen, which is just slightly weaker. We also see gold, which is off. And equity markets, which are fairly stable. They were stable in the US yesterday, a bit mixed on the Dow and S&P, and then you've seen a tick higher on the futures today, now up to around 1/3% higher, helping to pull European markets higher. But the interesting move is, again, sterling. Sterling continues to chop around, actually, on Brexit news flow. The sort of concerns as to how the Brexit process is actually going to pan out in that 2-week extension that Theresa May has secured. And now it would appear that the Parliament is trying to grapple, or has grappled, control of the process away from the government, and there are going to be some votes on indicative votes on these plans potentially that the Parliament could put forward as alternatives to Mrs May's deal. They're going to be happening tomorrow. So sterling continues to sort of fly around a little bit on that, but generally speaking, sterling is fairly stable at the moment, and euro is flat on the day, so euro is stable as well. So we've seen that coming through. Now what we have got is a batch of sort of not tier 1 data, but just interesting data from the States today. You've got building permits expected to just slip a little bit on both building permits and housing starts slipping a bit. Case-Shiller as well, the home prices index expected to come back to 4% actually at 1 o'clock. Consumer confidence will be interesting for the US. Obviously, we've had the focus on the US data has been key recently, and if consumer confidence slipped a little bit, then that would be a bit of a concern, I think, once more coming through. So we could see a bit of a volatility around that data at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So that takes me to my chart today, which is the Aussie yen. Again, a chart that I see indicative of risk appetite, and we've seen in the last sort of 2 coming up to 3 months now, the market has basically moved sideways in a pretty tight range of just 230 pips, and within that it is interesting that just recently there's been this little trend lower within that in the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks, and that's coming as these momentum indicators all fail at lower levels. RSI and MACD lines all sort of beginning to slip lower, which would suggest selling into strength really within that range. Now you've seen a move back towards the pivot line around 78.70. If I zoom out here, you can see that pivot line, old support, which has basically become a pivot within the range, and a move back towards that gives you an opportunity perhaps, because between there and I suppose the downtrend line, which comes in at 79.20, is a bit of a sell zone now. So it'll be interesting to see whether the market now starts to falter a little bit as it's rebounded that move, because there is a definite sort of trend towards testing the 77.50 level, and obviously that 77.50 level is key, and a closing break below that would, I think, be a significant deterioration. But as I said, these momentum indicators are sort of pointing towards selling into strength. You've seen that hourly chart, which is unwound back to a level at which the rallies have tended to sort of fall over a little bit, move above the neutral point on the RSI, on MACD, and above 60 on RSI. So that recovery is okay at the moment, but it'll be very interesting to see if it starts to sort of fall over around this overhead supply that we saw from mid-March. So with that in mind, I wish you good luck in your trading today, and I'll speak to you later.